The transport ship landed with a soft hum on the green planet called Verdantis. Marcus Chen stepped out and felt the warm air on his face. He was a human diplomat sent to make peace with the Kelrin people. His job was simple in words, but hard in action. Make them see humans as equals. Make them sign a trade agreement. Make them trust Earth. But the Kelrin did not trust easily. Marcus walked through the forest path toward the great clan hall. Trees grew so tall here that their tops disappeared into the clouds. Strange birds with 4 wings flew overhead. Everything felt ancient on this world. Everything felt like it had been here long before humans ever left Earth. 2 Kelrin warriors met him at the forest edge. They were tall and strong, with skin that shimmered like copper in the sunlight. Their eyes glowed with a soft amber light. They wore armor made from scales and carried weapons that looked both primitive and deadly. "Human," one warrior said. His voice was cold. "Follow. Do not speak unless spoken to. Do not touch anything. The war mistress will decide if you are worthy of her time." Marcus nodded and followed them. He had read all the reports about Kelrin culture. They valued strength above all else. They believed in blood oaths and ancient magic. They thought humans were weak because humans had no magic in their veins. The clan hall rose before him like a mountain carved by hand. Massive stone pillars held up a roof that seemed to touch the sky. Runes were carved into every surface. Thousands of symbols that Marcus did not understand. They covered the walls and floors and ceiling in patterns that made his eyes hurt if he looked too long inside the hall. Hundreds of Kelrin waited. Warriors stood in ranks along the walls. Elders sat on stone benches. Children watched from the upper balconies with curious eyes. At the far end of the hall, on a raised platform, sat the clan leaders, but Marcus only noticed one person. Syra stood at the center of the platform. She was the war mistress of the clan. Her armor was darker than the others and covered with runes that seemed to move in the light. Her hair was black and long and tied back for battle. Her eyes met Marcus's eyes, and he felt like she could see through him. See every weakness, every doubt, every fear. "So," Syra said, her voice carried through the entire hall, "Earth sends us this small human and calls it diplomacy." Some warriors laughed. Others just stared at Marcus with cold expressions. Marcus stepped forward. He had practiced this moment for months. "I come with respect for the Kelrin people. Earth wishes to trade knowledge and resources. We wish to build friendship between our worlds." Friendship, Syra repeated the word like it tasted bad. Humans have no magic. Humans have no honor in battle. Humans are children playing with technology they barely understand. Why would the Kelrin befriend children? Marcus felt anger rise in his chest, but pushed it down. Getting angry would prove nothing. Humans survived on a harsh world with no magic and no help. We built civilizations from nothing. We reached the stars through determination alone. That is our strength. Syra stood and walked down from the platform. She moved like a predator, graceful and dangerous. She stopped 3 steps away from Marcus. "Pretty words," she said, "but words mean nothing to the Kelrin. We believe in blood. We believe in oaths that cannot be broken. We believe in the old ways." She pulled a knife from her belt. The blade was white like bone and covered in glowing runes. The symbols pulsed with soft blue light. "If you want us to see you as equal," Syra said, "then prove it. Take the blood oath with me. Let the ancestors judge your worth. If you have strength in your blood, the runes will know. If you are weak, they will reject you, and everyone will see the truth." Marcus looked at the knife, then at Syra, then at all the watching Kelrin. He knew this was a test. He knew they expected him to refuse, expected him to show fear. "What happens if the runes reject me?" Marcus asked. "Nothing happens," Syra said. "You simply fail. You return to your ship, and Earth never bothers us again. We will know that humans are not worthy, and if I pass." Syra smiled, but it was not a kind smile. No human has ever passed. The blood oath responds only to those with the old magic in their veins. Only the strong, Only the chosen. You will fail, human, but at least you will fail with honor. Marcus took a deep breath. He thought about all the people on Earth counting on him, all the resources Earth needed from this trade agreement, all the hope riding on this one moment. I accept, Marcus said. Surprise flashed across Syra's face for just a second. Then it was gone. She nodded and held up the knife. The entire hall went silent. Even the children stopped whispering. Syra spoke in the old language. Words that sounded like thunder and wind and water all at once. She grabbed Marcus's right hand and held it palm up. The knife blade felt cold against his skin. Do not pull away, Syra said in human language. The cut must be clean. She drew the blade across his palm. Marcus felt the sharp pain but did not move. Blood welled up in the cut. Dark red human blood. It dripped onto the stone floor. Syra pressed her own cut palm against his. Their blood mixed together. She spoke more words in the old language. The runes on her armor began to glow brighter, but nothing else happened. Syra started to pull her hand away, started to turn toward her people to announce his failure. Marcus felt disappointment crush down on him like a physical weight. Then his palm exploded with light. White and gold and blue light burst from the cut on his hand. The runes carved into his skin appeared out of nowhere. Symbols he had never seen before. Patterns that burned bright enough to make everyone look away. The light spread up his arm. The runes appeared on his skin like they had always been there. Ancient symbols that the Kelrin had not seen glow in over 1,000 years. Syra stumbled backward. Her eyes were wide with shock, with fear, with something else Marcus could not name. One by one, the Kelrin warriors dropped to their knees. The elders stood and bowed their heads. Even the children in the balconies knelt down. The entire clan knelt before Marcus Chen, before a human, before someone they had called weak just moments ago. Marcus stood in the center of the hall with his hand burning with ancient light and wondered. What power had just awakened inside him? What change had just begun? Syra was still standing, but barely. She stared at Marcus's glowing palm and whispered words in the old language. Words that sounded like prayers. Like promises. Like prophecies finally coming true. The light began to fade, but the runes remained. Carved into Marcus's skin like they belonged there. Like they had always belonged there. Like he had carried them across the stars and through the centuries and finally come home. Hash. She cut his palm, the runes glowed. And her entire clan knelt ## Part 2. The forgotten prophecy, the silence in the clan hall broke like glass shattering. Warriors shouted in the old language. Elders rushed forward with trembling hands reaching toward Marcus. Children cried out in excitement and fear. The noise was overwhelming. Syra held up one hand, and the hall fell silent again. Her authority was absolute, but Marcus could see her hand shaking. Could see the confusion and shock written across her face. Everyone out, Syra commanded. Clear the hall. Now. The Kelrin obeyed immediately. Warriors filed out through the great doors. Elders moved slowly, but they moved. Families gathered their children and left. Within minutes, only Syra and Marcus and 3 ancient Kelrin remained. The 3 elders were so old their skin looked like weathered stone. Their eyes glowed brighter than any warrior's eyes. One of the elders approached Marcus. She moved with a cane made from twisted wood. Her robes were covered in more runes than Marcus had ever seen on any Kelrin. She stopped in front of him and studied his glowing palm with eyes that seemed to see through time itself. Impossible, the elder whispered. The old blood. The true old blood. We thought it was gone forever. Marcus found his voice finally. I do not understand what is happening. What are these marks on my hand? Why did everyone kneel? Syra stepped closer, but kept her distance like Marcus might explode at any moment. Those runes respond only to one bloodline. The firstborn. The ancient ones who created our civilization 10,000 years ago. They carved those symbols into the foundations of our world. Into our very laws and magic. Only their direct descendants can make the runes glow like that. But I am human, Marcus said. I have no connection to your people. My ancestors came from Earth, from a planet on the other side of the galaxy. The old elder smiled sadly. That is what we must discover. Come, we must go to the forbidden archives. We must read the old texts. We must find the truth. They walked through hidden passages deep under the clan hall. The stone walls here were older than anything Marcus had seen. The runes carved into them were different, simpler, more primitive. These were the first runes, the original symbols. The archives were a massive underground chamber filled with stone tablets and crystal recordings and books made from materials Marcus did not recognize. Everything was preserved perfectly. Protected by the same magic that now glowed on Marcus's palm, the three elders worked quickly. They pulled out specific texts and spread them across stone tables. Cyrus stood beside Marcus and watched with the same intense focus she had shown during the blood oath. Here, one elder said. He pointed at a crystal that projected images into the air when touched. The Book of Exodus, written by the last firstborn before they disappeared. The images showed a civilization beyond anything Marcus had imagined. Cities that floated in the sky, ships that could cross between stars in moments, people with power flowing through them like water, the firstborn at their height. Then the images changed. They showed war. A terrible war with enemies that looked like insects made from metal and hate. The Vexcarol, the old texts called them the Devourers. They consumed worlds and civilizations. They hunted the firstborn across the galaxy. The firstborn knew they would lose, the elder explained. So they did something desperate. They sent colony ships to 100 different worlds. They scattered their people across the galaxy. They hoped that some would survive, that the bloodline would continue even if the civilization died. The images showed ships launching into the darkness. Thousands of ships. Families fleeing their dying worlds. Children who would never see their home again. Most colony ships never arrived at their destinations, another elder said. The Vexcarol hunted them down, destroyed them. Only a few survived. The Kelrin came from one surviving ship. We landed on Verdantis and built a new home. But we were cut off from the others. Alone, we thought all other colonies had died. Syra leaned forward. Her voice was tight. What does this have to do with the human? The first elder touched the crystal again. New images appeared. A ship damaged and burning, limping through space toward a small blue and green world. There were rumors, the elder said. Stories passed down through generations. One colony ship was hit badly during the escape. It could not reach its destination. The crew made an emergency landing on a primitive world. A world with no resources. No technology, no help. We always thought they died there, that the harsh conditions killed them all. Marcus felt cold spread through his chest. Earth. You are talking about Earth. Yes, the elder said. Your Earth. 10,000 years ago, a firstborn colony ship crash-landed on your world. The survivors had nothing. No technology, because everything was destroyed in the crash. No magic, because the planet had no connection to the runic network. They had to start over completely, had to survive using only their hands and their minds and their determination. The images showed small groups of people struggling in a frozen wasteland, building fires, hunting animals, creating tools from stone. They looked human. They looked exactly human. Over thousands of years, they forgot who they were, Cyrus said quietly. She was beginning to understand. They forgot the firstborn, forgot the old civilization, forgot everything except survival. But they survived, the elder said with something like wonder in his ancient voice. Against all odds, they survived. And because Earth was so isolated, because they mixed with no other species, because they faced such harsh conditions, their bloodline stayed pure. Purer than any other colony. Purer even than the Kelrin. Marcus looked at his glowing palm, at the runes that had appeared from nowhere. You are saying humans are descended from your firstborn, that we carry this old blood. It's not just carry it, the third elder spoke for the first time. Her voice was like wind through ancient trees. You preserve it. The Kelran mixed with the native species of Verdantis over generations. We needed their strength to survive, but it diluted the old blood, made it weaker. Other colonies did the same on other worlds. But humans had no one else to mix with. You stayed pure by accident, by isolation, by necessity. Syra turned away and pressed her hands against the stone table. Marcus could see her shoulders shaking. We have spent 10,000 years calling ourselves the heirs of the firstborn. We have judged other species as lesser. We have treated humans like weak children. And all this time, humans carried the strongest connection to our ancestors. There is more, the first elder said. He pulled out an ancient scroll made from material that glowed faintly. The prophecy of return, written by the last firstborn priest before the Great Scattering. We thought it was just hope, just wishful thinking. But now, he read from the scroll in the old language, then translated to human words. When the lost children return bearing the light of the ancients, when the scattered clans see the old blood awakened in unexpected vessels, then shall come the time of unity or the time of ending. The devourers still hunt in the darkness. Only together can the children of the firstborn survive. Only united can they reclaim what was lost. Marcus felt the weight of those words settle on him like chains. I did not ask for this. I just came to make a trade agreement. The universe does not care what we ask for, Syra said. She turned back to face him. Her expression was complicated. Respect and fear and something else mixed together. You carry the blood of the ancient ones. You have awakened the runes. Whether you wanted it or not, you have become part of something much larger than a trade agreement. A warrior burst into the archives. He was breathing hard, and his armor was scorched. War Mistress? We are under attack. The clan of the Iron Mountain has surrounded the compound. They demand we surrender the human to them immediately. Syra's hand went to her weapon. How many warriors? 300 at least. Maybe more. They brought their full war band. Lord Vrachus leads them personally, Syra cursed in the old language. She looked at Marcus, then at the elders. Vrachus must have spies in our clan. He must have learned about the blood oath, about what happened. What does he want with me? Marcus asked. Power, Syra said simply. If he controls the human with old blood, he controls the future of all Kelran. Every clan will have to bow to him, or he will kill you and make sure no one else can have what you represent. The elder touched Marcus's shoulder. The runes have chosen you. That means you have power within you. Power that has slept for generations. But it will take time to learn. Time to awaken fully. Time you may not have. An explosion shook the archives. Dust fell from the ancient ceiling. Syra drew her weapon and moved toward the exit. Get him out through the underground passages. I will hold them off as long as possible. Marcus grabbed her arm. I did not come to your world to hide while others fight for me. Syra looked at his hand on her arm. At the glowing runes, at his face, something passed between them in that moment. An understanding, a connection that went deeper than words. Then stay close to me, human, Syra said, and try not to die. I want answers about what you are. I cannot get answers if you are dead. They ran toward the sounds of battle together. Behind them, the elders sealed the archives. Above them, the Iron Mountain clan smashed through the gates. And in Marcus's palm, the ancient runes burned brighter with every step he took toward the fight. As she cut his palm, the runes glowed. And her entire clan knelt ## Part 3, Bloodlines and Betrayal. The clan hall was chaos when Marcus and Syra emerged from the archives. Warriors fought at the main gates. Weapons clashed against weapons. Energy bolts from runic firearms lit up the night. The Iron Mountain clan had brought their full force, and they were not holding back. Syra moved like lightning through the battle. Her blade sang as it cut through enemy armor. Marcus stayed close behind her, dodging and weaving through the fighting. He had combat training from Earth's diplomatic corps, but nothing prepared him for this. The Kelran fought with a brutality and grace that took his breath away. Fall back to the inner sanctum, Syra shouted to her warriors. Protect the archives at all costs. Her second-in-command, a massive warrior named Corvax, rallied the defenders. Shield wall. Now. Do not let them through. The defenders formed up quickly. Their shields locked together and runes carved into the metal began to glow. A barrier of energy sprang up between them and the attackers. The Iron Mountain warriors slammed against it like waves against rock, but the barrier was weakening. Marcus could see it flickering, could feel the pressure building. "You cannot hold them for long," Corvax said. His voice was strained. "There are too many. We need to evacuate the War Mistress and the human through the escape tunnels." "No," Syra said. "If we run now, they will hunt us down. We need to activate the compound defenses." Corvax looked at her with frustration. "The defenses have not worked in 3 generations. The runes are dead. We tried everything to reawaken them." Syra grabbed Marcus's wrist and held up his glowing palm. "We did not have this before." She pulled Marcus toward the central pillar of the clan hall. It was carved from a single piece of black stone that seemed to absorb light. Runes covered every inch of it from floor to ceiling. They were the same symbols that now marked Marcus's hand, but these were dark and lifeless. "The compound defenses are linked to this pillar," Syra explained quickly. "It is firstborn technology. It should respond to your blood, to your touch. If you can awaken it, the barrier will extend around the entire compound. It will give us time." Marcus looked at the dark pillar, at the dead runes, at his own glowing hand. "I do not know how to control this power. I do not even understand what it is." "And guess," Syra said. "Learn quickly, or we all die here." Shield wall exploded behind them. Iron Mountain warriors poured through the gap. Syra's clan fought desperately, but they were being pushed back step by step. Marcus pressed his palm against the pillar. Nothing happened. He pushed. Harder. Concentrated. Tried. To feel whatever power was supposed to be inside him. The runes on his hand glowed brighter, but the pillar stayed dark and dead. "Human." A voice boomed across the battle. "I am Lord Vrachis of the Iron Mountain. Surrender yourself, and your war mistress goes free. Resist, and every member of her clan dies, screaming." Marcus looked up and saw Lord Vrachis standing at the broken gates. He was enormous even for a Kelrin. His armor was covered in trophies from defeated enemies. Scars covered his face like a map of violence. His eyes burned with ambition and cruelty. "What is your answer, human?" Vrachis called out. "Will you sacrifice yourself? Or will you be a coward and hide behind others?" Marcus felt anger surge through him, felt frustration and fear and desperation all mixed together. He slammed his hand against the pillar one more time and shouted, "Work!" Power exploded out of him like a dam breaking. The runes on the pillar blazed to life with white light. The glow spread up and down and across every surface. The ground shook. The air crackled with energy. And from the pillar, a dome of pure light erupted outward. It expanded through the hall and kept going. Through the walls. Through the grounds. Through everything. The Iron Mountain warriors, caught in the barrier's expansion, were thrown backward like leaves in a hurricane. They tumbled and crashed and rolled. Some slammed into trees. Others hit the ground hard. None of them could stand against the force. The barrier settled into place, covering the entire compound. It hummed with power that Marcus could feel in his bones. Through the translucent energy, he could see Vrachis climbing to his feet. The Iron Mountain Lord stared at the barrier with rage and disbelief. "Impossible," Vrachis snarled. "No one has awakened the old defenses in centuries." Inside the barrier, Syra's warriors cheered. But Syra herself was staring at Marcus with an expression he could not read. Wonder, fear, calculation. All of it at once. Marcus pulled his hand away from the pillar, but the barrier stayed.
Active.
His palms still glowed. The runes had spread further up his arm now. They covered his forearm in intricate patterns. "How long will it hold?" Marcus asked. "Days if no one attacks it," Corvax said. He looked at Marcus with new respect. "Hours if they keep trying to break through. But it gives us time. Time to plan. Time to call for help." Cyrus said quietly. We do not have days or hours. We have minutes at most. She pointed at the barrier. Marcus saw what she meant. Hundreds more warriors were gathering outside. Not just Iron Mountain Clan. Other clans were arriving. The word had spread impossibly fast. Every major clan within traveling distance was sending forces. They all want you, Cyrus said. Some to control you. Some to kill you. Some because the prophecy frightens them. We are trapped here with an entire army outside, and we fight our way out, Marcus said. And go where? Corvax demanded. Every inch of Verdantis will be hunting for you within a day. There is nowhere to hide. Cyrus' eyes narrowed in thought. The sacred archives. The elders said the archives have passages that connect to the old firstborn networks. Tunnels that run beneath the planet. If even a fraction of those passages still exist, we can use them to escape. That is legend, Corvax said. Children's stories. No one has found those tunnels in thousands of years, because no one had someone with old blood to open the sealed doors, Syra countered. She looked at Marcus. The firstborn would not leave their knowledge unprotected. They would seal the deepest passages behind barriers that only their bloodline could pass. You are the key. Marcus nodded. Then we go now. While the barrier holds, they ran back toward the archives. Syra's most trusted warriors followed. Corvax brought up the rear, watching their backs. They descended the ancient stairs and burst into the chamber where the elders waited. War Mistress, the eldest one said. We felt the awakening. The compound defenses. The human's power grows faster than expected. We need to use the old passages, Cyrus said. We need to escape before the clans break through. The elders exchanged looks. Finally, they nodded. Follow us. There is a door at the back of the archives. We have tried to open it for centuries, but the runes will not respond. Perhaps they will respond now. They led Marcus to a wall that looked solid. But when Marcus got close, he could see faint outlines of a massive door. Runes covered it in layers upon layers of symbols. All of them dark and dead. Marcus did not hesitate this time. He pressed both palms against the door. The runes exploded with light. The symbols rewrote themselves as Marcus watched. Ancient mechanisms groaned and clicked. The door split down the middle and swung open, revealing a tunnel that descended into darkness, deeper than any natural cave. It worked, one elder whispered. The old paths are open again. They entered the tunnel. The walls were smooth and covered in softly glowing runes that provided just enough light to see by. The passage was wide enough for 3 people to walk side by side. It sloped downward at a steady angle. Where does this lead? Marcus asked. The old texts mention a network beneath the planet, an elder explained as they walked. Built by the firstborn as emergency escape routes and supply lines, they connect every major settlement. If even a fraction survives, we can travel hundreds of miles underground. They had walked for 20 minutes when Corvax suddenly grabbed Syra's arm. Wait, something is wrong. What is it? Syra asked. How did Vrachus know about the blood oath so quickly? Corvax said. How did he mobilize his entire warband in less than an hour? How did word spread to other clans before we even understood what was happening? Syra's expression darkened. A spy. Someone in our clan told him. Not just told him, Corvax said. His voice was tight. Someone has been reporting to Vrachus for a long time. Someone high enough to know our plans. Our defenses, everything. Marcus felt cold dread spread through his stomach. Someone in this group right now. They all looked at each other. The warriors. The elders. Each person, suddenly a potential threat. Then one of the warriors stepped forward. His name was Drevin, and he had fought beside Syra for years. His face was filled with grief and determination. It was me, Drevin said. He raised his hands, showing he was not reaching for weapons. I told Vrachus about the blood oath. I sent signals to the other clans. I have been his agent for 3 years. Syra's blade was at his throat in an instant. Why? I trusted you. Because I am afraid, Drevin shouted. Do you not see what this human means? If others discover that humans carry the old blood, what happens to us? What happens to the Kelrin? We become obsolete. Weak copies of the real thing. Humans will take everything from us. So you betrayed your war mistress? Korvax growled. Betrayed your clan? I betrayed no one, Drevin said. I tried to protect us. Protect our way of life. But I was wrong. He looked at Marcus. I watched you awaken the defenses. I saw true firstborn power for the first time, and I understood something. The prophecy is not about conquest. It is about survival. The devourers are still out there. Still hunting. We cannot face them alone. We need the humans. We need you. Before anyone could respond, an explosion rocked the tunnel. Dust fell from the ceiling. The walls shook, broke through the barrier, Korvax said. They are coming. Drevin pulled a device from his armor. I sent Vraka's detailed maps of the compound, including the old passages. He knows where we are. He is coming down here right now with his best warriors. Syra's blade pressed closer to his throat. Give me one reason not to kill you, because I can delay them, Drevin said. There is a collapse point 200 meters back. If someone triggers it, the tunnel will seal. It will take them hours to dig through, but whoever triggers it will not escape. Oh, Marcus understood. You want to sacrifice yourself. I want to fix my mistake, Drevin said. Let me do this. Let me give you time to escape. Syra lowered her blade slowly. Why should I trust you now? Because I have nowhere else to go, Drevin said simply. Vrakas will kill me for failing. My own clan will execute me for treason. This is the only honorable path left. Syra stood silent for a long moment. Then she nodded once. Go buy us time. Die with honor. Drevin smiled sadly. He looked at Marcus one last time. Protect them, human. Protect all of us. You carry more than old blood. You carry our future. Then he turned and ran back up the tunnel toward the sounds of pursuit. His footsteps faded into darkness. They ran in the opposite direction. Ran deeper into the ancient passages. Behind them, they heard shouts and weapons fire. Then a massive explosion that made the entire tunnel system shake. Dust and debris poured down the passage after them. But when it cleared, the tunnel behind them was sealed with tons of fallen rock. Drevin had succeeded. He had bought them time. But as they continued deeper into the darkness, Marcus wondered how much time they really had. How long before Vrakas found another way through? How long before every clan on Verdantis came hunting for the human with old blood? And somewhere in the back of his mind, he felt something stirring. Memories that were not his own. Knowledge from ancestors dead for 10,000 years. The power in his blood was waking up, and it was hungry. She cut his palm. The runes glowed, and her entire clan knelt. Part 4. The awakening. They walked through the underground passages for hours. The tunnels twisted and turned like a maze beneath the planet. Sometimes the runes on the walls glowed bright and showed them the way. Other times the passages went dark, and they had to feel their way forward by touch. Marcus felt strange. His body was changing. The runes had spread from his hand up his entire arm now. They covered his shoulder and were starting to appear on his chest. Each new symbol brought with it a flash of memory. Images from lives he had never lived. Knowledge from people dead for millennia. We need to rest, Syra said finally. They had reached a wider chamber where the ancient firstborn had built a way station. Stone benches lined the walls. A pool of clean water bubbled up from the ground. Marcus looks pale. The warriors are exhausted. We push too hard, and we will collapse. Korvax posted guards at both tunnel entrances. The other warriors drank water and sat heavily on the benches. The elders huddled together and spoke in quiet voices. Syra approached Marcus where he sat alone in a corner. How do you feel? She asked. Like I am becoming someone else, Marcus said. He looked at his glowing arms. I can feel them inside me. The firstborn. Their memories. Their power. It is overwhelming. Syra sat beside him. Close enough that their shoulders almost touched. The elders say this is normal. When the old blood awakens, it brings with it the accumulated knowledge of your ancestors. You are not losing yourself. You are gaining them. It does not feel like gaining. Marcus said. It feels like drowning. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Syra spoke again. Her voice was softer now, less like a war mistress and more like someone who was also afraid. I have spent my entire life believing I knew the truth, she said. I knew the Kelrin were the chosen heirs of the Firstborn. I knew humans were lesser beings. I knew my place in the universe. Now everything I believed is a lie. Not a lie, Marcus said. Just incomplete. You are still descended from the Firstborn. That has not changed. But we are not the strongest connection, Syra said. We are not the purest blood. We have spent 10,000 years judging others when we ourselves were found wanting. Marcus turned to look at her. The strength of blood does not matter as much as the strength of character. Your people survived on a strange world and built a civilization that has lasted millennia. That is worth more than pure genetics. Syra met his eyes. You are generous for someone we treated with such contempt. I understand pride, Marcus said. Humans have plenty of it. We spent centuries fighting each other over differences that meant nothing. Over skin color and beliefs and territory. We nearly destroyed ourselves. Maybe that is part of why we survived on Earth. We learned that unity matters more than pride. Before Syra could respond, one of the elders called out, War Mistress, you must see this. They hurried over to where the elders stood examining a section of wall. The runes here were different. They formed images and texts that told a story. This is a historical record, the elder explained, carved by the Firstborn who built these tunnels. It describes the war with the Vexicurl, the Devourers. The images showed terrible battles, worlds burning, the insect-like Vexicurls swarming over Firstborn cities. The text described their nature. They were not natural beings. They were weapons created by an ancient race that had destroyed itself. Now the Vexicurl wandered the galaxy, consuming everything they found, learning, growing, becoming stronger with each civilization they destroyed. The Firstborn fought them. For 1,000 years, the elder continued reading. They won battles, but they were losing the war. The Vexicurl were too many, too adaptable. So the Firstborn made their desperate plan. Scatter the seeds of their civilization. Hope that somewhere, somehow, their descendants would grow strong enough to face the Devourers again. 10,000 years, Korvac said quietly. Have the Vexicurl been hunting all this time? They never stop, another elder said. She was the oldest, and her voice carried absolute certainty. They are patient. They search. They find. They consume. Every civilization that carries Firstborn genetics is a target. They will come for the Kelrin. They will come for the humans. They will come for every lost colony that still survives. Marcus felt cold fear spread through him. Then what chance do we have? The Firstborn were far more advanced than us, and they lost. The Firstborn lost because they were alone, the elder said. Each colony thought they were the last survivors. They never united, never combined their strength. That is what the prophecy means. Only together can the scattered children survive. A warrior at the entrance shouted a warning. Someone is coming through the tunnels. From the direction we came, everyone grabbed weapons and prepared for battle. Syra moved to the front. Marcus stood beside her. The runes on his arms glowed brighter, responding to his fear and adrenaline. But what emerged from the tunnel was not an army. It was a single Kelrin warrior covered in dust and blood. She stumbled and nearly fell. Korvax caught her. Report, Syra commanded. War Mistress, the warrior gasped. Brachus found another tunnel. He is coming. His entire force. They will be here within the hour. How did they move so fast? Korvax demanded. He has a prisoner, the warrior said. One of our engineers who knew the tunnel systems. Brachus is torturing him for information, forcing him to reveal every passage, every chamber. We cannot outrun them. Syra cursed in the old language. She looked at the tunnel entrances, at her exhausted warriors, at Marcus. We make our stand here, Syra decided. This chamber has only 2 entrances. We can defend it, hold them off as long as possible. And then what? Korvax asked. We cannot win against 300 warriors. Not in our condition. Then we die with honor, Cyrus said simply. No, Marcus said. The word came out stronger than he intended. Everyone turned to look at him. No, we do not die here. We fight. That is what I just said, Cyrus replied with frustration. No, you said we hold them off. I said we fight. Marcus walked to the center of the chamber. The runes on the floor responded to his presence. They began to glow. The firstborn did not build these passages just for escape. They built them as part of a network, a system. And systems can be controlled by those with the right blood. He pressed his palms against the glowing floor, closed his eyes, reached deep inside himself for the power that was waking up. The memories of his ancestors surged forward. They showed him how the tunnels worked, how the ancient mechanisms functioned, how the firstborn had designed their defenses. What are you doing? Cyrus asked. Marcus did not answer. He was too focused. The power was flowing through him now, not just in his hands and arms, but through his entire body. The runes spread across his chest, down his legs, up his neck. He blazed with light. The chamber responded. The walls began to shift. Ancient machinery that had slept for 10,000 years groaned to life. Panels opened, revealing weapon systems, defensive barriers, automated systems that the Kelran had never known existed. By the ancestors, one of the elders whispered. He is activating the full defense grid. Marcus opened his eyes. They glowed with the same light as the runes. When he spoke, his voice sounded strange, layered, like multiple people speaking at once. The firstborn prepared for this, Marcus said. They knew the Vex Corel would hunt their children. They left weapons. They left power. They left everything we need. We just had to be worthy to claim it. Distant sounds echoed through the tunnels, shouting, footsteps, the clang of armor and weapons. Vrachis was coming. Cyrus gripped her weapon tighter. Whatever you are going to do it fast. Marcus raised his hands. The power flowing through him was almost too much to contain. He felt like he was burning from the inside, like he would explode at any moment. But he held on. Held the power together through sheer will. Vrachis burst into the chamber with 50 warriors at his back. More poured in behind him. They spread out quickly, surrounding Cyrus' small group. Vrachis smiled when he saw them trapped. End of the line, War Mistress, Vrachis said. Surrender the human, and I will let your warriors live. They can join my clan. You have my word. Your word is worthless, Cyrus spat. Vrachis shrugged. Then they die with you. Pity. Some of them are skilled warriors. He looked at Marcus, and his eyes widened slightly, seeing the runes covering Marcus's entire body. But I see the human has been busy. All the better. More power for me to claim? He gestured, and his warriors moved forward. Energy weapons charged. Blades were raised. They closed in from all sides. Marcus released the power. Everything happened at once. The weapons, systems activated and fired. Energy bolts shot from hidden panels in the walls. They moved with impossible precision, targeting only Vrachis' warriors. The attackers were thrown back. Their armor cracked. Some dropped their weapons. Others fell unconscious. Barriers sprang up between Cyrus' group and the attackers. Solid walls of energy that nothing could pass through. The floor itself became a weapon. Sections dropped away, revealing pits filled with ancient traps. Other sections tilted, throwing warriors off balance. And through it all, Marcus stood at the center, blazing with light. He could see everything, feel everything, control everything. The power of the firstborn flowed through him like a river, like an ocean, like the entire galaxy contained in one human body. Vrachis roared in rage. He charged forward, swinging his massive blade at the nearest barrier. The weapon shattered against the energy wall. He stumbled back, staring at his broken blade in disbelief. Impossible, Vrachis said. You are just a human. I am more than human, Marcus said. His voice still had that strange, layered quality. I am the inheritor, the bridge between past and future. The awakened blood of the firstborn took a step forward, and Vrockus took a step back. The mighty Iron Mountain Lord was afraid? This power was never meant for conquest, Marcus continued. It was never meant to elevate one person above others. It was meant to protect, to unite, to give the scattered children a chance to survive. More Iron Mountain warriors poured into the chamber, but they stopped when they saw what was happening. Saw their lord backing away from a glowing human. Saw their comrades trapped and defeated. Marcus raised both hands. The power built to a crescendo. He could feel it reaching a breaking point. Could feel himself losing control. Marcus. Syra's voice cut through the haze of power. Marcus, stop. You are losing yourself. He looked at her face full of fear and concern. Not fear of him. Fear for him. That connection pulled him back. Reminded him who he was. Marcus Chen, human diplomat. Not some ancient weapon. Not just a vessel for dead ancestors. He lowered his hands slowly. The power began to fade. The runes stopped glowing so brightly. The weapon systems powered down. The barriers remained, but everything else returned to normal. Marcus collapsed to his knees. The exhaustion hit him like a physical blow. Every muscle screamed. His head pounded. He felt hollow. Syra was beside him in an instant. She caught him before he hit the ground. I am here. I have you. Vrockus saw his opportunity. He grabbed a weapon from a fallen warrior and charged forward. His face was twisted with rage and humiliation. He would kill Marcus, even if it cost his own life. But Korvax was faster. He threw a blade that caught Vrockus in the shoulder. The Iron Mountain Lord stumbled, but kept coming. Then something unexpected happened. Some of Vrockus's own warriors stepped into his path. They blocked his way, lowered their weapons, and refused to move. My lord, one of them said, it is over. We cannot win this, and maybe we should not try, traitor. Vrockus screamed. Out of my way. No, the warrior said. I watched the human awaken the old power. I felt it. We all felt it. That was true firstborn magic. Everything the prophecy promised. If we kill him, we kill our own future. Other warriors nodded. One by one, they lowered their weapons. Some knelt. Others just stood silent, but they all refused to attack anymore. Vrockus looked around at his army. At the betrayal, on every side. His face went through rage and disbelief and finally despair. He dropped the weapon he held. Then it is finished, Vrockus said quietly. If my own warriors will not follow me, then I am no longer a lord. He looked at Marcus with an expression that was hard to read. You win, human. Not through strength of arms, but through truth, through proof of what you are. I am defeated. Syra stood slowly. She kept one hand on Marcus's shoulder to steady him. Lord Vrockus, will you attack us again if we let you leave? Vrockus laughed bitterly. What would be the point? Word of this will spread. Every clan will know that a human awakened the old defenses, that the prophecy might be true. I cannot fight that. No one can. He turned to leave but stopped. A warning, War Mistress. There are forces in this galaxy that do not want the prophecy fulfilled. Forces far more dangerous than clan politics. If the human truly carries the blood, then the devourers will come for him. They always do. Then Vrockus and his warriors left. They filed out of the chamber in silence. Defeated not by violence, but by revelation. When they were gone, Marcus finally let himself relax. The last of the power faded from his body. The runes dimmed to a soft glow. He felt more tired than he had ever felt in his entire life. You did it, Syra said softly. You defended us without killing anyone. You proved your worth without becoming a monster. I almost lost control, Marcus admitted. I almost let the power consume me. If you had not called me back? But I did, Syra said. And you listened. That is what matters. Korvax approached them. War Mistress. Scouts report that messages are being transmitted across the entire planet. Every clan knows what happened here. They know about the human with old blood. How many clans are mobilizing? Syra asked. All of them, Korvax said. Some to swear allegiance. some to demand audiences, some with unknown intent. Verdantis is about to change forever. Marcus looked at Syra, at the elders, at the warriors who had fought beside him. What do we do now? Syra smiled slightly. It was the first real smile he had seen from her. Now, Marcus Chen of Earth, we do what you came here to do. We build a bridge between our peoples. We unite the clans, and we prepare for what is coming. High above Verdantis, in the darkness of space, sensors detected an anomaly. A massive energy signature that should not exist on this primitive world. Automated systems analyzed the readings and came to a conclusion. Firstborn energy. Old blood awakened. Target confirmed, deep in the void between stars. Ancient machines that had hunted for 10,000 years turned their attention toward Verdantis. The Vexcarel had found another colony. The Devourers were coming, and they were hungry. Hashi cut his palm. The runes glowed. Hashi. And her entire clan knelt. Hash Hash, Part 5. Unity of the Scattered. The next 3 days changed everything on Verdantis. Clan leaders arrived from every corner of the planet. Some came with honor guards. Some came alone. All of them wanted to see the human who had awakened the old blood. Marcus stood before them in the rebuilt clan hall and let them see the truth written in glowing runes across his skin. Syra stood beside him through every meeting. She had become more than his protector. She was his partner in building this fragile new alliance. Together they spoke to skeptical lords and curious warriors. Together they showed what unity could mean. I do not ask you to follow me, Marcus said to the gathered clans on the third day. I am not your leader. I am not your king. I am just proof that the firstborn scattered their children across the stars. That we are all family, whether we knew it or not. Humanity offers friendship. We offer knowledge. We offer our strength added to yours. An old clan matriarch stood from her seat. Beautiful words, human, but words do not change reality. The clans have fought each other for thousands of years. We have old grievances. Old wounds. How can you heal that with pretty speeches? Marcus met her eyes. I cannot heal those wounds. Only you can do that. I can only ask you to consider what matters more. Old grudges or new hope? Past conflicts or future survival? Another lord spoke up. What do you mean future survival? What threat faces us that requires such drastic unity? Before Marcus could answer, alarms began blaring throughout the compound. Warriors ran to defensive positions. Syra grabbed her weapon. The clan leaders looked around in confusion and fear. Corvax burst into the hall. His face was pale. War Mistress. Multiple unidentified ships are entering orbit. Dozens of them. They are not Kelrin design. They are not human design. They are something else. Marcus felt cold dread settle into his stomach. Show me. They rushed to the command center where displays showed the orbital space around Verdantis. Ships were appearing out of nowhere. Massive vessels that looked like insects made from metal and death. Their hulls were dark and covered in spikes and strange organic-looking technology. They moved with unnatural grace for things so large. By the ancestors, Syra whispered. The Devourers. The Vexcarel. They came. One of the elders had followed them to the command center. She stared at the display with horror and recognition. I have seen images of those ships in the old texts. They have not changed in 10,000 years. They do not need to change. They are perfect killing machines. How many ships? Marcus asked. 30 capital ships, Corvax reported. Hundreds of smaller attack craft, more appearing every minute. They are surrounding the entire planet. A communication signal came through. It was not words. It was not language. It was something alien and horrible. A sound that made everyone in the command center feel sick and afraid. The displays translated it as best they could. Firstborn genetic markers detected. Colonial remnant identified. Harvest protocol initiated. Resistance will be processed. Compliance will be processed. All outcomes lead to consumption. Transmission cut off. Then the first weapons fire came from orbit. Beams of terrible energy lanced down through the atmosphere. They hit the planet's surface miles from any settlement. Explosions bloomed where ancient forests had stood for millennia. The Vex-Corel were testing defenses, measuring capabilities, learning before they struck the real targets. "We have to evacuate," one clan lord said. He had followed them as well. "Get everyone to the ships. Flee the planet. And go where?" Syra demanded. "They have surrounded the entire world. Nothing gets in or out. We are trapped." Marcus grabbed the edge of the command table. His mind was racing. The runes on his skin began to glow brighter, responding to his fear and desperation. He closed his eyes and reached for the firstborn memories inside him. The knowledge of people who had fought this enemy before, images flashed through his mind. The old war. The battles the firstborn had won and lost. Their tactics. Their weapons. Their final desperate strategies. "They are learning our defenses," Marcus said. His voice had that layered quality again. Multiple generations speaking through one mouth. That is what the Vex-Corel do. They observe, they adapt. Every attack makes them stronger because they learn from it. The firstborn lost because every battle just taught the enemy how to win the next one. Then how do we fight them? Korvax asked. "We do not fight them the same way the firstborn did," Marcus said. He opened his eyes and looked at Syra. "We fight them with the one advantage the firstborn never had. Diversity. The firstborn were one united.